I think they probably lived a good life. Food resources were good. We know that they were eating all kinds of things, from shellfish to plants, pine seeds. There were olives growing here. It's not just the big game. They had a good selection of plants and animals. They had fresh water. And I suspect that probably the Neanderthal life included a lot of spare time where they had time to think. They weren't just surviving.
It's very difficult to find an engraving or a piece of art that can be demonstrated to be Neanderthal in a way that this has been.
This is Gorham's Cave right behind me. It was used by Neanderthals for tens of thousands of years. It's at the base of this massive cliff, which is Gibraltar, and the Neanderthals from here would then walk out of here and go out into the hunting fields, which what is now the Mediterranean Sea would have been a field of dunes with lakes and quite a diversified environment. So this was in some way Neanderthal city. It's a place where we have a line of caves, probably the highest concentration of Neanderthals anywhere that we know. The caves seem to have been ideal habitat for the kind of lifestyle that we think the Neanderthals were living. It's almost a cathedral type cave, and it's very difficult sometimes to visualize it until you're actually here. In the middle section of the cave, you have a lot of natural light coming in. They seem to be doing a lot of their domestic activities there. We find campfires, we find a lot of evidence of deer, other mammals as well, but mainly red deer in this particular site. But then the fun was that we found that when the Neanderthals finished and left, they obviously left bits of meat around, and hyenas came in. We know they came in to scavenge because they left behind their, what we call coprolites, which is fossil dung, basically. The hyenas ate what they found, pooed and left, essentially. But deeper in the cave, we find other fires, which is very unusual. Neanderthals tend not to have campfires deep in the cave. But here, because the roof is so tall, it almost has a natural chimney, they seem to have campfires there as well. And behind that, you have chambers where they could have slept protected by the fires from all the predators that were around, like the hyenas and the lions and the leopards that would have come in. So if you like, the cave, they used the space in different ways depending on what activities they were doing.
And this area here, if I just take my hat on, I might be able to light it up for you. This is the area of the famous Neanderthal etching or engraving.
What is it?
Well, you know, we don't really know, and we've always stopped short of calling it art. But what we do know about it is that it's certainly something that somebody decided to engrave, and there was purpose to it. It wasn't something that happened by mistake, or it wasn't as a result of a doodle. When you look at it closely, you can actually see the different striations as each time the tool that was used has passed and dug into the rock. And the deepest one has actually 60 individual strokes to make the deepest one. They were made in sequence in a specific order, and the order wasn't changed as they were being made. So they were making one vertical line, then the horizontal, then another vertical. So some thought process was going on. The difficulty, of course, is trying to get into the mind of the person making, and I don't think we can ever do that. We know that more modern people have cave art, but this was the first time that it could be demonstrated without any doubt that it was Neanderthal. And one of the reasons that we could demonstrate this was quite by chance. One of the sections that we have close by shows a very diagnostic Neanderthal tool, of which there is no doubt whatsoever that it was made by the Neanderthals, and that's about 20 to 30 centimeters above this engraving. Then what's below it can only be Neanderthals, because the modern humans hadn't arrived yet.
We're still battling in certain quarters to say to people and make people understand, you know, these people were humans. They may have been different, may have had a different culture, a different way of thinking, some things we may never know, but they were human.